Would you believe that the Straw Hat, known for being a directionless drunk, actually embodies the heavenly virtue of chastity? Zoro wants to be the world's greatest swordsman, but that title is not just about strength. He needs discipline, focus, and control, which means he can never let things like romance or distractions get in his way. So he shows the virtue of chastity, not just by avoiding relationships, but by staying 100% committed to his dream. He trains non-stop, pushes through crazy pain, and ignores temptations. But he's not perfect. He drinks a lot and loves to fight, which might seem like a contradiction. Still, his version of chastity isn't about giving up everything and being a monk. It's about moderation. He never lets drinking or battle pull him off course. While Zoro's lack of direction is a serious flaw, it isn't nearly as comical as our next candidate. Sanji is a total flirt and acts like a lovesick fool, but when it comes to fighting, he actually shows a lot of restraint. He never uses his hands in battle to honour his cooking, and he holds back even when people try to provoke him. He's a great example of temperance, not just because he stays cool under pressure, but because he knows when to fight and when to walk away. He controls his anger and only steps in when it truly matters. But his love for women is definitely a weakness. His flirting and nosebleeds make it seem like he has zero self-control. Still, his journey has been all about learning when to act and when to hold back. Just like in Whole Cake Island, when he pushed through heartbreak and pain to protect his crew by baking a cake rather than using direct violence. While Sanji can be selfish at times, this next Straw Hat is downright the most selfless character in One Piece. Chopper is the heart of charity in One Piece, always helping others without asking for anything in return. Charity means giving love, kindness, and care, and as the Straw Hat Doctor, that's exactly what he does. But Chopper didn't always believe in himself. People rejected him for being a reindeer with a human form, making him feel like a monster. However, Dr. Hiriluk taught him that a true doctor saves lives no matter what, which inspired Chopper to help others, even when it was risky. Therefore, Chopper became the ultimate healer, treating friends and strangers alike, whether it was Nami's fever, the villagers on Zoo, or even in Wano. But Chopper still struggles. He doubts his worth, fears hurting others in Monster Point, and gets upset when teased. Yet, he keeps healing because his kindness is his greatest strength, proving he's not a monster, he's a hero. Speaking of heroes, the next Straw Hat is literally the hero of One Piece. Luffy is the perfect example of diligence in One Piece. He never gives up, no matter how tough things get. Diligence means working hard, staying determined, and pushing forward. And Luffy shows this in his fights, training, and journey to become Pirate King. But Luffy wasn't always strong. As a kid, he was weak and reckless, often getting hurt. However, Shanks showed him what it meant to be a real pirate, someone who never backs down and protects their friends. This made Luffy determined to grow stronger. Even after nearly dying from training with Garp and Rayleigh, he kept pushing himself. He kept fighting Crocodile after losing twice. He punched a celestial dragon despite the risks. He trained for 2 years to master Haki, and to top it all off, he even died for a few seconds to awaken Gear 5th. No matter how impossible it seems, Luffy always gets back up. But his recklessness causes trouble, and his carefree nature puts others at risk. But at the same time, his hard work and determination inspire everyone. That's why he'll be king of the pirates. Having said that, he is one impatient lad when it comes to things like meat, very much the opposite of the next Straw Hat. Robin quietly observes, learns, and waits for the right moment to act. Patience means enduring hardships, staying calm, and trusting the process. And Robin shows this in her quest for the truth and her journey with the Straw Hats. But Robin's life was full of pain. As a child, she was hunted for knowing how to read poneglyphs. She spent years running, hiding, and surviving betrayals. However, she never gave up on her dream of uncovering the Void Century. She waited for the right people to trust, even after being alone for decades. Robin doesn't rush. She spent years gathering knowledge, studying history, and strengthening her devil fruit powers. She endured Eni's lobby, choosing to live when the crew fought for her. In Wano, she waited until the perfect moment to defeat Black Maria. But patience can be lonely, as it made Robin bottle up her pain for years, afraid to rely on others. The next Straw Hat tried to something similar, but ended up relying on the crew as well. Nami is the perfect example of kindness in One Piece. Even when she acts tough, she deeply cares for others. Kindness means showing compassion, helping people in need, and putting others before yourself. And Nami does this for her crew and even strangers. But Nami didn't always trust people. Growing up under Arlong's rule, she had to steal and lie to protect her village. She believed she had to survive on her own. However, Bellmare taught her that love and kindness make people strong, and Luffy and the crew proved she didn't have to carry her burdens alone. Therefore, Nami's kindness shines through her actions. She risked her life for Vivi and Alabasta, and cared for the children on Punk Hazard. She even forgave Jinbei, despite his past with Arlong, because she saw his regrets. Speaking of Jinbei, he is the perfect example of humility in One Piece. He He never boasts about his strength and always puts others before himself. Humility means staying grounded, respecting others, and knowing your own limits, and Jinbei shows this as a warrior and leader. But Jinbei wasn't always so wise. As a proud soldier of the Sun Pirates, he once believed strength alone could change the world. However, Fisher Tiger and Otohime taught him that true strength comes from humility and understanding. He learned that fighting without purpose leads to destruction, especially after seeing Arlong's hatred spiral out of control. He gave up his warlord title to stand with Luffy in Marineford. He even humbled himself before Big Mom, pretending to fear her to protect his crew. His actions always serve others, not his ego. But humility is hard. He carries guilt for past mistakes and sometimes holds back too much. Yet his wisdom and selflessness make him one of the strongest and most respected men on the sea. Only a series with such great world building can have characters so diverse. Anyway, if you are into the One Piece world building as much as I am, check out this video where I talk about what could be the end game for one of our favourite characters.